Before you start sewing with your Bernina 1008, you want to check that the settings are in the correct position before you start. If we start at the right hand side, the button we're looking at just now is used for zigzagging. You can see it's set at 0, which means it will do straight stitching and not a zigzag. The dial in the center, we can move this for the needle position when we use a zipper or putting in a zipper with the zipper foot. We want it to be straight up and down so we know the needle is in the center. The next one down, the dot on the button should be at 0. This is for a buttonhole and we won't be using this one, so it should set at 0. Further down, we've got the stitch length here, which should be set at 2.5. This can be turned up and down to change the size of your stitch. It can also be lifted up when we come to do reverse, when we're wanting to back stitch at the beginning of a seam, and this is your symbol here for that. Right down at the bottom, the last dial we don't have to worry about, but we do want it to be on the straight stitch zigzag position, and this one to be at green, and that will be suitable for all the stitches that we are going to be using. On the other side of the sewing machine, we want to look at what our tension is, and the red lines should be matching. We have a take-up lever here which we want up the top because our first job is to actually thread up the machine. So let's move this by using the hand wheel at the side, so when we turn it will go up and down. So this is now at the top. When we come down, we want to see that our presser foot, and there's a lever at the back, it can be down. We want that in the up position before we start to thread up the machine. I've set my thread in the spindle at the top of the machine, or the thread holder at the top, and I'm going to take this thread and I'm going to hook it under the thread guide at the back. We're going to come down through the tension discs. When we come down, and then we're going to go under, and there's a spring there, and then over the top of the take-up lever. I've actually take-up lever. When we come down, there is a thread guide that we need to go in behind, so from left to right, and then we're ready to go through the needle. I have it through the needle now, and we're going to take it to the back of the sewing machine, so in through the slit on the presser foot, and we want it to sit down at the back so it hits the bench that it's sitting on, and now we know our thread will be long enough when we start to sew. Next part is the bobbin. We're going to open up the bobbin cover, and I've already taken out the bobbin case from there. You can see that it has a hook or a finger at the top, and that's important when we're putting it back in because we've got to make sure it's in the upright position. So what we're going to do is turn this over and put it down ready for the bobbin. Now the bobbin has to run clockwise, so when you put it down, have the thread coming off the right hand side, and then when we pull this thread, it should, if I can catch it, if we pull the thread, you can see that it's running clockwise. It's almost like the letter, if you think about the letter 9, as long as it's coming off the right hand side, the thread will run the correct way. We want to put this bobbin inside the bobbin case, and what we have to do after that is take it up through the slit. There is a little slit here in the bobbin case, and then it comes out at the top in that sort of T position. It is a little bit difficult to see at the moment. I have taken it up through the slit, and it's now, so the slit was at the side, it's come up in behind that plate, and it's ready to go into the sewing machine. If I should be able just to take this and hold it, and that will let you know that your tension on your bobbin case is good. So now we're ready to put this into the actual machine itself. And if you think about, when you see that lever, if you think about a kind of thumbs up approach, then that will remind you to put this at the top. When we look inside the machine, I'm going to tilt this machine so that you can see. When we look inside, and it's not very bright, there is actually a space for your bobbin to go into. I've moved the position of the machine and it's a little bit brighter, and we're ready now to put this into the machine. Remember thinking thumbs up, so this hook will be in the upright position. That's going into your machine, keeping it upright, and click. Leave a long thread because we want to bring that thread up when we use the top thread. Take your top thread, hold it loosely in your hand, and then you're ready to turn the hand wheel so that the take-up lever goes down and comes back up. And if you pull the thread, you can see the thread has got a lot shorter. If you pull that thread, it will bring up a loop, and that loop is your bobbin thread, and all we have to do is pull the loop, catch it, pull the loop, and there you have both threads, which should be taken and sitting down at the back, and then you can close the bobbin cover. There's your machine, your top threading and your bottom threading.